fibula would be, it slide in there. So this is a notch. This is definitely notched out, very concave. So it's called fibula notch because the distal fibula fits in there, and that's the famous syndesmosis. There's only two non-synovial joints in a lower extremity. The pubic symphysis is one, and it's actually singular. That's not just name-wise, pubic symphysis, and then the two distal tibiofibular are syndesmosis, non-synovial. So the fibula notch articulates with the distal fibula, and that's the distal tibiofibular joint syndesmosis. This, anybody want this? I guess you can see the notch there. That's called fibula notch of tibia. Named after the fibula, that's the fibula notch of the tibia, and that would articulate, with the distal fibula. Some books say lateral malleolus, but it's not quite lateral malleolus. We're just going to say distal fibula. So the fibula notch of the tibia with the distal fibula, that's distal tibiofibular joint, that's syndesmosis, non-synovial. Okay, and does anybody, actually I'll hold this a little more. So that finishes tibia, except all the other features are not articular, they're muscle attachment. Now this one we hardly ever ask. This is the this would be the intercondylar eminence. There's two tubercles, but that's a kind of an old-fashioned name, intercondylar eminence, deep inside the knee, can't palpate for ligament attachment. Intercondylar eminence, but the two most palpable non-articular features, actually the three palpable features of the tibia, very palpable, are the tuberosity. This is the tibial tuberosity, below, about an inch distal to the patella. That's very palpable muscle attachment. Crest of tibia on the shaft, very palpable. Medial malleolus, borderline, whether it's articular or not, don't worry about it. Just know this is very palpable, visible. That's the inner ankle knob. That's medial malleolus. Okay, and I think that finished everything on the tibia. A lot of articular features. Fibula is just two features you need to know. I list shaft, but that's not really an articular. That's not a, there's only two features by name that will come up. The shaft is deep, lots of muscle attachment. The head of the fibula is the proximal epiphysis. Even though there might be a neck, we don't name it. We just call the proximal epiphysis the head, and it articulates with the lateral condyle tibia as before. That's proximal tibiofibular joint. So the head of the fibula with the lateral condyle of the tibia, that's proximal tibiofibula. That's proximal tibiofibula, gliding. And then there's a distal tibiofibula, but we don't name the feature for the fibula. We just say distal tibiofibula syndesmosis. And then the outer ankle bone is this comparable knob called lateral malleolus of fibula. Most of the distal epiphysis is the lateral malleolus. Now that one, even though we kind of don't list medial malleolus sometimes as articular, in a sense it is, but we always list the fibula as part of the ankle joint. So specifically, the lateral malleolus has an outside external portion for ligaments actually, but deep inside it does articulate with the talus. There's only one tarsal in the ankle joint. That makes it easier to study, and that's a standard question in different forms. But so the lateral malleolus of the fibula is the distal epiphysis, and it articulates with the talus. Lateral malleolus of fibula with the talus or first tarsal to form part of ankle joint. Ankle joint is what type of joint? A gliding, B hinge, C ellipsoidal, D ball and socket. Okay, so I know you think of intertarsals, but the ankle, and I'm going to distinguish movement in a second, but the ankle joint, pure hinge, uniaxial hinge. Ankle joint is hinge, and all of the following bones form the ankle joint except, all of the following bones form the ankle joint except A, tibia, B, talus, C, calcaneus, D, fibula. All are part of the ankle joint except A, I think I said talus, B tibia, C fibula. I got my numbers. So the 4 bones on choices, all are part of the ankle joint except talus, tibia, fibula, calcaneus, which is not part of ankle.
Calcaneus?
Yeah. Calcaneus is such a large tarsal that you might think it's an ankle, but the ankle joint, the other easier question, the ankle joint is, they could ask it either way, but I've seen this question. The articulation between tibia and fibula and talus is which joint? So the tibia, fibula, and talus, that's awkward wording form. What joint? That's the ankle joint. That's bad wording.
How's it going?
But a better wording is the tibia and fibula articulate with which tarsal to form the ankle joint. That I've seen on many finals. The tibia and fibula articulate, yeah, but you're right. But let me give my choices. Okay. The tibia and fibula articulate with which tarsal or tarsals to form ankle joint? A, talus, B, calcaneus, C, both, D, neither. Tibia and fibula articulate with which tarsal to form ankle joint? A, talus, B, calcaneus, C, both of them to form ankle joint, D, neither. Talus only. That's the same question in a different version. All you need to know, ankle joint, 3 bones, tibia, fibula, talus. Ankle joint, 3 bones, tibia, fibula, talus, not calcaneus. Ankle joint, 3 bones, tibia, fibula, talus, but not the calcaneus. Okay, calcaneus knot, just like pisiform knot for wrist joint, is there's 3 carpals in it. Here there's only 1 tarsal, the talus, that's its claim to fame, calcaneus knot. Okay, now I'll reinforce that, and then after I finish lower extremity, I'll stop for a little bit. So they have numbers, but you don't have to worry about numbers here. Here's what you need to know about the tarsals. They're all short bones. Everyone clear? Even though they're big, technically, all carpals, all 8 carpals in each wrist are short bones. So all carpals are short bones. All tarsals are short bones, nothing else. People get confused. They think, even I had this in my review in class, and some people might think it's irregular because it has maybe a regular shape, but all tarsals, no exception. It's not about size, it's about how they develop. So all tarsals are short bones, and all carpals are short bones. Okay, no other short bones, just carpals, tarsals. Talus, only tarsal of ankle joint. Easy. That's all you need to know. It's the only tarsal in the ankle joint. Calcaneus, and actually I did bring feet. No, this is talus. You can see all of the smooth stuff is for the articulations forming ankle joint. Calcaneus, heel bone, most weight-bearing, strongest, most weight-bearing tarsal, largest, but not in ankle joint. The ankle joint's here between tibia and fibula and talus. Calcaneus, most largest, strongest, most weight-bearing tarsal, but not in ankle joint. Not in ankle joint. Calcaneus. Then this is a right foot. So those are, in a sense, the talus, calcaneus, tiered, but they're we don't call it that, but they're the proximal tarsals. In a sense, they're the 2 proximal tarsals lined up. The one in the middle, that's neither proximal or distal, but the odd one out in a way. It's in its own row, is navicular. So it's sort of by itself because it's between talus, calcaneus, and the distal row. So that's this canoe boat shape, that's navicular. Then the distal row is much easier to remember name-wise than the distal row of carpals because it's all C's and it's 3 cuneiforms and the cuboid. So it's very easy to remember. The distal row of tarsals is, first cuneiform, second cuneiform, third cuneiform, 3 cuneiforms, and the big cube-shaped cuboid. So 3 cuneiforms and cuboid are distal row. So, and that's all you need to know. They articulate with the metatarsals, but you just need to know talus, only tarsal ankle joint. Then calcaneus, heel bone, not an ankle joint. Navicular, in between. Then distal row, 3 cuneiforms and cuboid. And all short bones. And then for all 5 metatarsals and all 14 phalanges of a foot, we don't really ask this except it comes up once in a while within question, the proximal epiphyses of all metatarsals, all phalanges, and likewise all metacarpals is called the base, because it's kind of flat. The proximal epiphyses are called the base, and the distal epiphyses of all of these long bones, and they're all long bones, is called the heads, because they're rounder. And then the foot itself, the specializations of human foot, large, this will probably not be a question, large strong tarsals and metatarsals, then 2-point contact. It's the heel and really, now ball of foot is not technical, it's technically the head of the first, head of the fifth, we're not going to ask that. So, but there's 2-point contact to make up that we only have 2 feet, each foot makes contact, heel and ball of foot for stability, and then the arches, and you just need to know which bones in which arch. So the medial longitudinal arch, you can feel it on yourself. Sometimes calcaneus, talus, navicular, first cuneiform, first metatarsal. There's 5 bones. You could sort of do that as a review on yourself, but the medial longitudinal arch is calcaneus, talus, navicular, first cuneiform, first metatarsal. On the other side, flatter, but it's still called lateral longitudinal arch, is simply calcaneus, cuboid, fifth metatarsal. Calcaneus, cuboid, fifth metatarsal. And then transverse, a bone can, this is fragmentation. In a sense, there's just one giant arch. That's why bones can be in more than one, because we really just have one giant arch. But the transverse arch starts with navicular, distal row tarsals, cuneiforms, cuboid, all 5 metatarsals. So the the transverse arch has 3 components. One singular navicular, then distal row of tarsals, all 5 metatarsals. That's the transverse arch. And let me think. There's one other thing. There's no saddle joint. We don't have an opposable big toe, no saddle joint in the foot. And the categories of, except for the wrist and ankle being different, the categorical types of joints are exactly the same. No saddle, but this is hinge, whereas wrist is what type of synovial? Wrist is ellipsoidal. Good. Wrist is ellipsoidal biaxial because there's more movement. This is not for weight bearing, but the ankle is hinge. It's weight bearing, one, more stability. Then intertarsals are all gliding. Intertarsals, like intercarpals, are all gliding. There's no saddle, so all tarsal, metatarsal. You don't see movement there. They're all gliding. So where the distal row of tarsals meet the metatarsals, we're not aware of movement. It's slightly gliding. They're all gliding. So intertarsals gliding, tarsal, metatarsal gliding. The name's blurry on paper. Sometimes you need to go to your foot or hand. But like the metacarpal phalangeal that are ellipsoidal, the metatarsal phalangeals also ellipsoidal. They're exactly the same. So the metatarsal phalangeals are, that's where the toes start in everyday terminology, are ellipsoidal. The metatarsal phalangeal are ellipsoidal, and then all interphalangeal, whether hand or foot, all interphalangeal hand, all interphalangeal foot, toes are hinge. So everything's gliding, really. Once you clear the ankle, gliding, intertarsal, tarsal, metatarsal, gliding. Then metatarsal phalangeal is the tricky category, it's ellipsoidal. And then all interphalangeals are hinges. And there's one other fact that'll come back to me, but okay, so I finished. I'm going to keep going for the axial skeleton. I'll go to almost 3, actually, and then we'll take a break. I might not go all the way to 3, but I'll try to do quite a bit of axial, which is much easier than appendicular. There's less, actually. There's probably more questions on appendicular, which I basically just did. Most of them are articulation questions. And, okay, any questions? Now, do you have any questions at this point on any of this stuff? We basically did the appendicular skeleton.